About breaking the pair. Faye began this part of the press conference with a calm but firm tone. This topic has caused a lot of misunderstanding. Let me explain what really happened. She revealed that one day before the Thailand fan meeting, the company arranged a psychological consultation for her, Yoko, and CEO Wan. However, the meeting was far from casual. It felt more like a psychological evaluation than a genuine conversation. The atmosphere was heavy and uncomfortable. The question they were asked during that session was, Faye and Nong, can you imagine yourselves working separately if the pair were to be split? That was the question I was given. Faye explained. I replied, as an actress, my job is to act. If I need to play a rock, I'll be a rock. I can do it. After that, Faye said, the company asked her to meet the psychiatrist a second time, but she refused. Because the first session right before our fan meeting didn't make me feel good at all. I needed all my strength then. So many fans were waiting for us. I had to stay strong, but I didn't go back again because it really hurt me emotionally. Faye clarified that people had completely misunderstood her decision, thinking she wanted to split from Yoko or abandon their partnership. That was never my intention, she said firmly.
ไฟอยากแยกคู่เหรอไฟทิ้งน้องเหรอไฟไม่เคยคิดแบบนั้นเลยอะ
We only had one project together, and we even received an award as a duo. So why was the split blamed on me? Didn't the company know that? Why did the entire impact fall solely on me? That's something I really want to ask.
เพราะเราเพิ่งไปรับรางวัลคู่กันมาเองที่ไฟไม่เข้าใจจนถึงทุกวันนี้แล้วไฟก็อยากถามกับว่าทางค่ายเนี่ยไม่รู้ไม่ทราบจริงๆหรอคะเรื่องประเด็นการแยกคู่
Through her words, Faye made it clear that she was not the one who wanted to break the pair. Instead, the entire situation was orchestrated and manipulated in a way that left her bearing all the blame. Analysis. The psychiatrist meeting before the 9/14/2024 fan meeting. The turning point that split FayeYoko. Based on what Faye shared during the press conference, the fan meeting in Thailand, she referred to as the event held on September 14th, 2024, coinciding exactly with Q3 2024. The period one had previously claimed was when Faye and Yoko began having conflicts. This revelation led many to believe that the so-called psychological assessment, arranged by the company, was not a genuine counseling session, but rather a manipulative tactic designed to influence and control the two actresses. Before the fan meeting, Wan personally brought Faye and Yoko to meet a psychiatrist, where they were asked a strikingly direct question. From a professional standpoint, Faye's answer was entirely reasonable. She said that as an actress, no matter the situation, she would do her best to fulfill her role. However, that meeting became a deep psychological shock for her. At that time, both Faye and Yoko were doing perfectly fine, cheerful, cooperative, and free from any signs of conflict. They were actively preparing for their first fan meeting together, maintaining a stable mindset and positive energy. So, being suddenly told to meet a psychiatrist and asked to imagine a separation scenario must have felt like a heavy emotional blow. Anyone in Faye and Yoko's position would have felt uneasy and confused, especially since there was no clear reason for such a meeting in the first place. Wan, a psychologist, or a master of emotional manipulation. From Faye's account, it appears that one used her own background in psychology to subtly manipulate both actresses. By acting as the facilitator during the session, Wan seemed to take control of the emotional atmosphere, steering Faye and Yoko's thoughts toward a predetermined direction. With her psychological expertise, Wan knew exactly how to frame questions, plant doubts, and create emotional instability to serve her own agenda. Bringing in an external psychiatrist only made the entire setup appear more legitimate, a clever move that helped disguise manipulation as professional guidance. To this day, no one knows what Yoko said during that session. But if even Faye, a seasoned professional with years of experience, admitted to being emotionally shaken, one can only imagine how much deeper the impact must have been on Yoko, a sensitive newcomer who had always been quiet, cautious, and easily frightened by tension. It's entirely possible that Yoko was deeply influenced by that meeting, perhaps in ways she herself never realized. The second meeting and the real trap. After the first session, Juan suggested that Faye and Yoko meet the psychiatrist again. Faye refused. She had already been deeply hurt and emotionally shaken by the first meeting. As for Yoko, no one knows whether she went or not. But if she did, it's highly likely that she unknowingly walked straight into the plan one had carefully orchestrated, a plan that would later lead to the devastating consequences we are all witnessing today. They only wanted to work together. From everything Faye shared, it's clear that neither she nor Yoko ever wanted to be separated. They had only completed one project together, had just received the Couple of the Year award, and were genuinely excited about the prospect of working on their next project, to grow further, both professionally and personally. Faye emphasized that their bond was built on genuine respect and affection, not just as colleagues, but as two people who deeply cared for each other. Their only wish was simple, to continue working side by side, supporting each other's journey forward.
เลยในความสัมพันธ์เราเป็นพี่น้องที่ดีต่อกันนะคะเป็นพาร์ทเนอร์ที่ดีต่อกันแล้วก็ฝ้ายก็สามารถพูดได้เลยว่าความรู้สึกที่มีให้กันมันก็คือเรื่องจริงก็คอยให้กำลังใจอยู่ข้างๆกันมาตลอดเป็นคนสำคัญของฝ้ายมันก็เป็นปกติของคนทำงานด้วยกันอ่ะมันอาจจะมีน้อยใจกันบ้างมีเข้าใจกันผิดไปบ้างแต่ว่าปัญหาเหล่านั้นไม่เคยมีในการทำงานของพวกเราเลย
It has now become apparent that the conflict did not stem from any personal issue between Faye and Yoko instead. It was the result of deliberate intervention from the company, which sought to manipulate the situation behind the scenes. The psychiatrist meeting before the September 14th, 2024 fan meeting marked the true turning point, the moment when the company quietly began breaking the pair apart under the pretense of professional guidance. About contract termination. Why did I leave the company? That's the biggest question everyone has been asking. It all began when the company called me in and asked me to switch from my old contract to a new one. They said, "Please read and sign it today." I told them that contracts are sensitive and important matters, and I needed time to read it carefully. Later, I reviewed it, made some edits, and sent it back. I said honestly, "To me, the old contract is fairer." They replied, "All right, then we'll keep the old one." But from that moment on, there was never any discussion about future plans, no direction, no roadmap. Everything felt dark and uncertain to me, and the only path I could see was to walk forward on my own. I asked several times about my career direction, but I never received an answer. That's why I decided to terminate my contract. This career is my life, but if there's no future, there can be no happiness. Waking up every day without a goal is not living. I never intended to leave anyone behind, nor had I planned this departure. But after I left, I was completely broken. Even so, I received so much encouragement from people inside and outside the industry, and especially from my fans. That strength helped me recover. Been so many misunderstandings, and today I want to speak for myself. I never wanted to hurt anyone. Even on the day I left, I still carried good feelings. That person once told me, "If one day you do well, I'll be happy for you." So we parted on peaceful terms, and I choose to remember only the good things. We were like Faye, known in the entertainment industry. I never wished harm upon anyone. I will keep focusing on my work and create meaningful projects for my fans. They are my only motivation. Without them, I wouldn't be who I am today. Finally, I want to thank all the fans and senior colleagues who have always supported me and given me opportunities. From now on, if I see or receive any message that defames me, damages my reputation, or affects my work, I will take full legal action with no compromise. Thank you very much for listening. The new contract and psychological manipulation. The company presented Faye with a new contract and demanded that she read and sign it on the same day, deliberately cutting off the time needed for careful review. It's highly likely that the new contract contained hidden traps, clauses designed to separate Faye and Yoko, forcing Faye to follow the company's new direction, pairing her with a newbie, and using Faye's popularity and influence to promote the newcomer. Instead of rushing to sign, Faye wisely chose to read it thoroughly, make revisions, and send it back. Why was the old contract more favorable to Faye? At the beginning, Nine Star had struggled to find a suitable actress for the role of Kun-nung, so they specifically invited Faye to join the company. It's believed that her original contract included a clause granting her a share of profits from production or business projects. As Nine Star shifted its strategy, focusing on using established artists to boost new faces, they no longer wanted Faye to keep receiving revenue shares from future projects. This made the new contract disadvantageous for her, so she chose not to sign. Path 2. Freezing her career for refusal to sign. Once Faye refused to sign, the company effectively halted her career development. No future plans, no responses, no opportunities. The most obvious sign being her removal from the 4E project. Their goal was to keep her bound by the old contract but without any new work until it expired naturally, essentially, to freeze her career, a pre-planned sequence of moves. As early as September, the company had already arranged for Faye and Yoko to meet a psychiatrist, allegedly to evaluate the possibility of splitting the pair. If both agreed, everything would proceed as normal. If they didn't, the company would move to phase 2, forcing them to sign a new, restrictive contract that left no room for resistance. Faye was the one who refused and was immediately sidelined. Her removal from 4E became the clearest proof of this plan in action. Yoko may have fallen into the new contract trap. It's very possible that Juan met with each of them separately to discuss the contract. If Faye was pressured to sign within the day, Yoko likely faced the same treatment. Yoko, being introverted and emotionally affected after the psychiatric session, might not have read the new terms carefully and thus became completely bound by it. The new contract might have offered attractive short-term benefits, such as a clear career roadmap or promotion plans, but hidden beneath those promises was the true cost: becoming a pawn to promote a newcomer and being forcibly separated from Faye.